Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crockett Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq. I got the queen, Demetra K. And I am the 5-star general. Greg Abbott done pissed the whole country off. Got Biden calling him a Neanderthal. But they calling him worse than that in the state of Texas. Even your Republican homies got a problem with your big partner. Say, man, you might need to put some WD-40 on the wheels of that wheelchair because they about to roll you up out of here. Say, man, let's get to it. Say, man, I want to welcome y'all to another episode of the War Zone and tell you thank you for tuning in. You know, without you guys, we would not have a show. So we really appreciate you taking time out to tune in to us every single night because you're the best audience in the world. I want to start it off by saying I went to Austin, Texas last night, and I'm sick of dealing with you folk down here in Houston with this Tasha Jackson foolishness. So I went and had dinner with some of my Republican homies. And the only thing I can tell you, you ain't got to leave. You know how they say at the club, Tasha. You ain't got to leave when the lights come on, but you about to get the hell up out of here. I promise you that one. You gonna get the hell up out of here, man. So another thing, I got a meeting Monday. I think I'm gonna take my cooking expertise into the restaurant arena. I'm about to pull off the War Zone soul food on your ass. Kick back. And I can flat out go. I ain't get this big eating peanuts. I can promise you that. Donovan, what's happening, my friend?
Hello. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the War Zone. And thank you guys for tuning in. You guys got a lot of options. We didn't get around to $2 Tuesday yesterday because the general was taking care of some business, but we'll definitely get back into that. And but wait.
We'll do that tonight.
Okay, we can do that tonight. Like I said, it's never too late to donate. So you know, every penny counts. So every dollar, penny. How did the pastor say it? We don't mind the kind. We want the kind that folds, not really the kind that rolls. Okay, so if y'all can throw it in there, we'll have the Cash App up. Please go ahead and do
$1 Wednesday. How about $1 Wednesday?
$1 Wednesday. Okay, we can do that. We can do that. And if y'all can't donate $1, Black folks, we are in trouble. You got money for weed and all that other stuff. But don't let me get preaching. In the news today, for all you Biden supporters, he's only been in there 30 days. Golly, he just got inaugurated. What do you expect him to do? Joe Biden said, I got to pull the $15 out of this bill because the Republicans and the two Democrats have more power than the majority of the people. They have the votes. They have the House, they have the Senate. Why are you going to pull $15 an hour out because a parliamentarian who is just an advisor tells you to? But y'all continue to vote for these people. He pulled the $15 out. He reduced the amount that he wants to give you guys. They want to go from 400 to 300 unemployment or something of that nature. And you still keep voting this guy and make excuses. You know, what kills me is the excuses, Demetra and 5-star, because, you know, they always have something to say that we don't know what we're talking about. We don't know politics. We don't know what's happening. But we've been calling this right down the wire. So what are you Biden supporters saying now? And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, y'all just Trump supporters. Notice we're also very critical of the Democratic Party as well. So it doesn't matter to us if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you ain't in there doing right, we just gonna call it out. And you got to go black first. Demetra?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the War Zone. Hope you guys are having a fabulous week so far. I know that you guys missed us yesterday, and we missed you too. But tonight, if you could do us a favor and share this live so that everybody else can get the information and join in on the conversation, we would greatly appreciate it. So tonight we're going to be talking about Texas, right? Texas has got a lot going on, and specifically, we're going to talk about Governor Greg Abbott saying that Texas is going to be open to the tune of 100% on next Wednesday, and he's getting rid of the mask mandate, meaning you can go wherever you want. That would allow you, right, into wherever you want without a mask. And so that's going to be a whole lot of fun, not really, for a lot of businesses and, things like that. And so I'm going to turn it over to Gary so he can fill you guys in on what he did yesterday in Austin, and then we'll get into more of the conversation about what Texas is doing.
I got invited to a dinner with some important people. And having to go into this room and never to speak in front of, unless I was in front of committees on the Hill, to speak in a private dinner with Dr. Hotze and a room full of senators and Congress people and representatives. And, I spoke on the cheating that's going on down here in Harris County. I spoke specifically on what was happening with Tasha Jackson. I took the conversation that I had with the Harris County attorney, had it transcribed, and was able to give everybody in the room a copy of it, show them the verification of these people getting the actual complaints and not responding. And I will say that by the time that I finished, they figured out that I was a hell of a speaker. Never used a cuss word for those that think I don't know how to talk to good white people. Never used a cuss word, made it make sense. And that's why I'm telling you, Tasha, enjoy your time, but you got to get the hell up out of here. I went and got me some muscle for this one. And I'm not going to play the game no more. But Greg Abbott has reopened the state of Texas. And I got one question for y'all. One of these good Republicans tried to visit the state capitol. That was yesterday, prior to Abbott opening up the building. They say, well, you can't come in because you gotta be and took the vaccine. They ain't checking your temperature like, they doing that, but they wanted you to have the vaccine before you come in the building in the state capitol. So my thing was, as I'm listening to this, so you telling me you're going to reopen the whole state of Texas, but you won't let people in the state capitol? So if we're reopening the whole state of Texas, does that mean that we now get to go back to school board meetings? That we now get to go back to city council meetings? My advice to you, if you're not comfortable, keep your mask on, social distance. Nobody can stop you from doing it. If you have a business and that's what you want to do, then you do that. You see what I'm saying? You got to have a comfort level in this thing. But I think I want to see the input from the people on what they really feel about Abbott reopening the state of Texas at this crucial time. And I think that since, a lot of Republicans, they say the COVID is not real, but yet they take the measures to protect themselves from the COVID. So if the COVID is not real, and yet you still wearing a mask, or yet you won't open buildings, that tells me something. But here's my thing. Are they going to open these federal buildings? That's what I want to know. Donovan?
That and that's a very, very good question. In regards to Tasha Jackson, and things like that. Now, usually when the heat comes down the pipe, usually somebody at the Houston level will say, you know what, we don't want all this attention on us, whatever. Is there a chance that somebody's going to go ahead and do what they're supposed to do and remove this young lady before it gets to a higher office?
I can't give away all my nuggets because I know they sit around and they watch. But I, back when I was endorsing during the election time, and endorsed several people that sit on the Texas State Supreme Court. Look like I get to pay the Texas State Supreme Court a visit now. Yeah, you finna have some problems because this ain't gonna work down here. I swear to you, if they don't do anything, well, I don't care what district I'm in, which I probably would be in D. I'm gonna run in the J, the M, the C city council race just because I choose to. What y'all gonna do about it? They know why they want that woman in that seat. It's a money move. It's a money move. And it's Tasha, it's Top, it's the commissioner, it's all of them. They know why. But I got some tricks up my sleeve, Donovan. And when it all comes out, I'm going to shock the world, and we going to make the national news, and I'm going to fuck up y'all money. I'm finna fuck up the church's money.
Because I kind of worry about that, because we pay these city attorneys 6-figure salaries, and they're supposed to know what they're doing, and they are supposed to help the city alleviate litigation toward the city to save the taxpayers' money. Now, a lot of them will say, well, she's already there. There's really not much we can do. It will cost a lot of money if we, do another election. Well, goddamn, if this law doesn't mean anything, then this law doesn't mean anything. We're not a nation of law, so why would it matter? Like you said, you could run in any district that you want. You don't have to live there because she happened to move there after she was found out, so now it's okay. No, we're going to have to do something about that. And this is why we have shows like this. This is why we have the new black media. So you guys could be informed about what's going on, because the general does his stuff on that level. But at the same time, we got to ask you guys right there in Houston, what are you doing to bring attention to this? Are you guys calling the office? Are you guys emailing? And then here's a man that's not even on the school board. Are the people that are actually on that school board right now, what are they doing? And if they ain't upholding the law and their oath, I think it's my time you guys start thinking about bringing in other candidates.
I think a lot of them, what they're doing, Demetri, is they run around here taking pictures, passing water out with the enemy. That's what they're doing. They get in bed with the enemy in some kind of way. Because I'm going to tell you something. You ain't passing water out for free. You ain't passing hot meals out for free. You getting paid. So most of these Negroes are on the payroll, so they ain't gonna do nothing for it. It is a sad day, Demetri culture, because you pro-black. When I can sit in a room with all white people and they ask the same question, why y'all people let them people do this to y'all? This the second time in a week I done heard somebody say this. Why y'all people don't stand up to them and they just let them do that to y'all? Demetri?
You guys know, it's serious when I got to scratch my damn naps. You guys know I'm an implant here to Houston. And the things that I've endured since I've been here has left me baffled. Like damn near freezing to death was one of those things. And then, as I was going about my day yesterday, I hear the governor wants to open up for not 50%, but full blast, 100%. Texas is amongst, the states, I think, is right behind California with the most COVID cases, even though the COVID cases are trending, but they said it's at a plateau, which means that while it has gone down, it still hasn't gone down enough. It's just kind of hovering over a certain point. Texas is only 6% vaccinated. So they need, nationwide, about 70% of the nation to be vaccinated. And so I would imagine it'd be the same per state. So it's only 6% of the people in Texas that are vaccinated. And he, being the governor, wants to open up full blast, and then he wants to not do the mask thing. And so as I think about those things, being an implant, I'm like, it never really, it dawned on me to ask what's wrong with the government here, but I was more so perplexed in wondering what's wrong with the people. What's wrong with Texans? No shade to Texans. I ain't ready to claim y'all yet. I'm still from Southern California right now, okay? I ain't ready to claim y'all. But I was wondering what's wrong with Texans? Like, even when I was in California, I would hear about the nonsense that would just go on here, and I just couldn't understand it. And I keep coming back to what's wrong with the people. Like, at some point in time, I think we just have to just say the people of Texas love what they endure, whether you're freezing to death, whether you got a governor who is so cavalier where he's like, hey, F y'all, I'm opening everything up. And not only that, I'm going to make sure that y'all don't have to wear masks. That made it harder for, you know what I really feel sorry for? I feel sorry for the people in the service industry, retail, the restaurants, because you know that is going to be, I was going to call them a name, but I'm not. Certain people, these patriots, right, are going to go into these restaurants with no masks on and say, well, you know, Governor Abbott said we don't gotta wear these masks, and then they're gonna be fighting back and forth with somebody who's making minimum wage, who ain't got nothing to do with it, putting those people's lives at risk. And so it's like, I don't even know if he obviously he doesn't care about those type of things, but I just like, what's wrong with people in Texas? Like Florida used to get that whole, what's wrong with people in Florida? But now it's like, what's wrong with people in Texas? And I got relatives in Florida, so.
I'm going to tell you something, man. We're misguided in a lot of areas. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to speak for the white population of Texas. I'm going to speak for the black population of Texas. One, we don't keep up with shit. We don't read enough. We don't want to be forthcoming when it's time to admit that our representation has failed us. You know what I'm saying? I really don't give, you know, people say what Abbott did is a political move. For what? His party's not happy with him. On a lot of shit, they not happy with him. Yeah, I'm going to put it out there, Mr. Abbott. They not happy with your own boy. Dan Patrick, they not happy with you either. See, because when you think about the lights going out, they didn't just go out on the black side of town. They went out on the white side of town too. Somebody got an answer for that. You see what I'm saying? But I think Greg Abbott is moving to the beat of his own drum right now. He's slowly getting outside of his party and doing some things that are not even satisfactory to his own party. You know, and what's, you know, we fucked up down here in Texas. I told you before you got here. I told you we fucked up down here. We fucked up down here. Black folk don't want to never open a mouth and say shit. And you the first one in the motherfucking water line when the shit pop off. And as soon as you got enough water, you the first motherfucker in the club line. So it ain't gonna get better until we change our adult behaviors. But in the meantime, whether the COVID is real or not, people are dying at an alarming rate. And if we feel that these masks are what it needs to be, then guess what? Keep wearing your mask and keep telling them, fuck them, stay 6 feet away from me.
Yeah, I'm strongly going to recommend that because, you know, fat meat is greasy. It just is. And if you guys don't believe that, 500,000 Americans are dead. There's no doubt about it. And then they say there's like something like 3 million people recovering from some form of COVID. So
what killed them? It wasn't good pussy.
Exactly. And that's one hell of a way to go out if you can find some of that. But you know, I kind of look at Greg Abbott's governorship and how he's trying to govern. It's almost like he's trying to take a bit of an FDR type twist to it. Like, hey, you know, I'm a paraplegic, I could do it, or whatever he's doing. He's a wheelchair bound person and I can do it. But you would think that he would advocate a little bit more, being that he is vertically challenged, walkability challenged, to say, hey, this is a real thing. You know, I have a disability. This is disabling people, because some of the people that are even recovering, especially the older people, are saying that they've lost their taste buds. It's going to take a while to get their taste buds back and all this other stuff. Some people are having, you know, sideline conditions. So, I mean, for Texas to do this, I don't know what Texas has to prove. I mean, I understand it's a political stunt, but for us, and we're talking to be one first, don't fall for it. Like Demetra and the 5-star, we always say, let them be happy. It's like what Malcolm X said when John Kennedy's friend blew his brains out. Malcolm X was like, I love to see him get that happy. He blew his brains out in a moment of happiness. So let them go ahead and enjoy their little outings and their freedoms. But we be smarter than that, and we cover up and we take care of our own.
Well, Dimitri, I want to put something on your mind because I want you to expound on this. Now, we've heard Dr. Muhammad say, don't take the vaccine. We've heard him say it several times, don't take the vaccine. And listening to Dr. Hosey speak last night, he's a health and wellness doctor. You see what I'm saying? He said, do not take the vaccine. So I done got it from a white man. I done got it from a black man. But you know the scariest part of what he said, Dimitri? And I want to look you in your eye. He's saying about a year or two, don't be surprised if it's 50 million Americans dead from the vaccine. Because it's not a vaccine. I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? Talk to me, D.
Well, Farrakhan, he told us to look at history. During his Criterion speech on the 4th of July of last year, he says, look at history. And we don't even have to go really that far back. I mean, you can go to the Tuskegee experiment and see what they did to Black people in the name of medical science. I'm in the process of reading Medical Apartheid by Harriet Washington. And just in the beginning of the book, she details a lot of things that were done to Black people, earlier on from slavery and, all of those things. And so I think the one thing about Black people is we do have amnesia and we forget, history, the things that were done to us. But I don't know if you guys saw the clip of Wendy Williams. She was talking to Dr. Oz, and Dr. Oz asked her, would she be getting the vaccine? And she says no. She says, I don't trust it. I don't know what's in it. And he was shocked. He was shocked. Like, so you're not taking the vaccine? And she goes, no, I'm not taking it. And then he says, well, you do know you have millions of people who are watching you, all these viewers, and, they'll do pretty much what you say. And she says, I'm not speaking for nobody else. I'm speaking for myself. I'm not taking it. I don't trust it. She says, I barely even take an aspirin, and all this other stuff. I'm not taking it. And he was shocked. And so, I was glad to see her use her platform to express her doubts. But yeah, I can only speak for myself. I'm not taking it. But again, we as Black people need to look at history. I mean, like you said, too, there's a white doctor who's saying, hey, you know what? Don't be surprised. I mean, and we know that it takes roughly 10 years or so for them to develop a vaccine. But they developed this vaccine within months. Where is the trial? Where is the data that says, okay, this person was okay or not okay a year or 2 years after they took the shot? Like, where is that? That's what's missing for me. You don't know what the long-term effects of this vaccine is. And so I ain't taking it.
Well, I'm going to say this here, man, that I want to see some things. Some dead animals. Where the dead monkeys at from trying it on them? Where the dead hamsters at from trying it on them? They ain't showed us no dead animals. Normally you go try this shit on some folk, man. You go try this shit on some animals. You ain't tried this shit on nobody. And now you got a motherfucker passing out the vaccine that had a problem with talcum powder. Johnson & Johnson. You motherfucker be the shot some baby all up in a motherfucker arm, man. Say, man, I'm on some real shit. Me and Rodney on the Warzone morning show, y'all, and the doctor slowly let me get back to normal. I'll be back on the show in the morning. We were talking about this the other morning. And Rodney, I say, well, why did you take it? He said, man, I want to be a leader. I say, well, don't be like the home run leader, because he's dead in the motherfucker right now from taking the vaccine. Say, man, I'm not fucking with no vaccine. I'm not taking it. And it was good to be in a room last night with a bunch of people that ain't took it either. Ain't none of us dead. Look, if you're a Christian, you were born to die. If you're a Christian, you were born to die. Am I correct? We all got a day to go. And you say when it's your time to go, that's God's will. Well, God, you have total control of the situation, because I'm not listening to none of these fake ass leaders that's taking this shit, because you ain't gonna live a day longer than you supposed to. When your ignorant ass is out of here, you out of here. But I'm telling you, Something ain't right. But Abbott opening up the state of Texas, in the black community, that's a scary thing. We have underlying health issues. So, dealing with the COVID, because we feel it's real in our community. I mean, something going on. There's a whole bunch of dead motherfuckers around here, man. And it wasn't like that 2 years ago. So all these people dying, but what they dying of if the COVID ain't real? Donovan, my friend, where the motherfucking dead monkeys and dead hamsters?
Because it just doesn't make sense to me. They had overwhelming capacity and couldn't bury the dead enough. They had to bring in ice trucks and all this other stuff. And it's almost like, we just don't learn, what we're doing. Because here in California, they're opening up the restaurants and all that other stuff too, because we've got to a level that seems to be okay. But either it's over or it's not over. And I know you got some mathematicians out there that'll say, well, 350 million Americans, 500,000 have died. That's less than 1% of what, But what if that part of that 1% was a family member of yours? That's what should matter. And I'm going to say this for us as a people. If we do not learn anything, just like Demetra said, we have the shortest memories or we just don't give a damn. If we don't learn anything after all of this, we got to start getting healthy again, because a lot of the stuff that's affecting us is because we eat badly. We don't exercise. We just don't do anything. So after this situation, we need to reset as a people and stay focused on the things that we are demanding from our politicians, and just refocus our focus. Because I'm sorry, if you're a baby boomer and you're watching this show and you're an awoke baby boomer, this is not for you. We need to stop listening to these civil rights era failures and start directing our people in the right direction. We are not going to be sitting on our ass anymore, just waiting for the next tragedy to happen. I mean, I'm going to show you how short memory that we have. We still got to get justice for Breonna Taylor. We still got to get justice for Ahmaud Arbery. We have so much unfinished business, but these civil rights era people will sit up there and tell you, well, now, baby, just be a little bit more patient. They're working on it. He just got in office. No, we're not doing that. Y'all need to go sit down and let people like the 5-star, and let's get some new leadership going so that we could move our people forward.
Well, and to your point about, a lot of people run around saying, oh, only the virus is only going to affect about 1% of the U.S. population. Well, do the math. How many people are in the United States? About 328, 330 million people. What's 1% of that? That's over 3 million people. The regular flu kills about 12 to 61,000 a year, depending on how bad the flu is. And so how is that compatible to the flu? Because you hear that argument, right? Oh, well, it's the flu. It's like the flu. A lot of people, but over 3 million people is a lot of people to lose. That's not like a little, drop in the bucket. That's a lot of people. And so you have people who operate out of ignorance, by trying to deduce this virus down to the flu. Well, clearly it's not the flu. But what saddens me the most is it's because, the governor opening up the states, that's going to predominantly affect Black people, because we are in the service industry, more so than anybody. And that's all that means. They want to open up the economy so people can go and exercise their freedoms and, not have to wear a mask and all these other things. And we are going to fall for it. And the other crazy part that's just going to blow me away is watch how many parties and stuff you start to see, and how many nightclub events are going to start to, open up, and people are going to be in there with no mask on, thinking because the governor lifted, these mandates and stuff, that's magically we're okay. That's not the case. This thing is still going on. And they said, as a matter of fact, in Texas, they said all the variants of the coronavirus is in Texas. You know how you have all these different strains? It said they've all made it to Texas. And so he's open, like, we got to be smart and use wisdom and say, well, why is he doing this? Is it because of the economy, or is it something else? A lot of people also think that he's trying to cover up for him fumbling the snowstorm that happened in Texas, and there's still people here without water. So I mean, we got to use wisdom. But Gary, to your point, that doesn't mean we don't have to still wear masks. And as you guys said too, we still have to wash our hands and do all. Like, don't think that this is a pass to go out there and just do you. And don't forget, spring is coming, it's going to get warmer. Summer is coming, it's going to get warmer. And people just are going to get so complacent because the sun is out and people want to go play. But ain't nothing like being hot with the coronavirus. So I don't know.
Well, let me ask you a question. Has anybody ever thought, this was something that was brought up last night too. I learned a lot last night. I just sit and I listen when the big dogs are talking, black, white, whatever. What they doing with your DNA off them swabs when they stick that shit up your nose? A whole bunch of y'all finna go to penitentiary, man. A whole bunch of y'all commit them crimes, y'all going to jail, man. They taking your DNA and they stockpiling it. You understand what I'm saying? That you're not digging off, you're not digging off in my motherfucking nose, man, with them swabs. What are they doing with your DNA from this stuff? And all these so-called black leaders, oh, I took the vaccine. Motherfucker, we don't know what they shot up in your arm. That could have been saline water. Well, I tell you what, Mayor Turner and all of y'all that took it, I think you need to let us give you your second shot. I got some shit I can shoot up in your arm. I got some motherfucking common sense juice I can shoot up in your ass. Because a whole bunch of y'all ain't using common sense when it comes to governing us. Say, man, I don't know what Greg Abbott thinking about, what he doing on a lot of levels. But Mr. Abbott, you setting yourself up to come up out of Texas, homeboy. I can promise you that. And it's time for a change anyway. You know, it's just bottom line, it's time for a change. But these black leaders, at the end of the day, I'm not trusting nothing they talking about because they fraud, they criminals. I'm not trusting nothing they talking about right now.
Yep. You know, I mean, there's just so much going on that's distracting you. Like I said, number one, they're distracting you with the COVID and all that other stuff. But yet the very people who voted to get Trump out of there, now you got Trump out and now Joe Biden can't even deliver $1,400 immediately. I don't know what his definition of immediately is, but it is what it is. Real quick, how many of you guys have heard Mayor Cuomo? Once it seems like to me to be a politician on that level, you have to have gone to Epstein Island and, you know, mess with the kids and harassed and grab some pussy on some women. He says he's not going to resign and that, you know, whatever he did, you know, he's sorry about it. But what is it about these politicians where they feel that nobody else can replace them and they just ain't going to resign even when they're cold busted? Well, you know, what is it about that?
Well, let me ask you a question, Demetri and Donovan. What is it about these motherfuckers that's getting grabbed by the pussy that they don't say nothing when it actually happens? Why you waiting 15, 20 years later when a motherfucker ain't selling no records no more? When a motherfucker ain't the governor or whatever no more. They ain't the president no more. Why you ain't saying nothing then? If Gary Monroe come through and grab you by the pussy, I'm going to jail tonight. I'm not understanding why it's taking so long for these people to come up with this shit. And then when you bring it up, you ain't got no evidence, or it's just word of mouth. I get the canceling thing, but goddamn, dog, can y'all bring this shit up when it happens?
I mean, yeah, I think that's a valid question, you know, but this is the other thing. The Democrats, you know, they have this whole believe women thing. And, you know, and I'm not making fun of that, but they do. You just believe women. Oh, gosh, we need to believe them, Kamala, all of them. But when it came down to Joe Biden, it was crickets. Nobody said anything about the plethora of women that accused him of doing this, that, and the other. But when it came down to, you know, Governor Cuomo, they all wanted to resign and, you know, this, that, and the other. It's like, well, he had accusations. And Joe Biden had accusations. What made them different? I mean, they both have women accusing them of doing something sexually inappropriate to them. What was the difference? And so it's like, How do you take any of them seriously at this point? So it's like, you just believe some women that's not attached to your favorite candidate or politician, or do you believe like let us know what the standard is so we can know when to be mad and when not to be mad, you know?
Right, because it's almost like a political weapon now. You just accuse somebody, oh, it's Trump. I mean, they've got cases and case law and all this other stuff going after this man, and rightly so. Don't get me wrong, because the woman that alleged that Trump raped her, I don't know what's going on with white women, but if you're keeping the dress with the stuff still on it, I don't know. You ain't washing your clothes on a time. I don't know. That's just another thing. But they supposedly she still has the evidence. I don't know how you're going to prove that without the evidence, but there we go. But when it comes to black people, like I said, we have black politicians that are our leaders. I haven't heard one of them say anything about letting Bill Cosby out under this bullshit.
They don't never say nothing about Bill Cosby, because they know Bill Cosby is in jail for one crime: wanting to buy NBC. That's why Bill Cosby's in jail, and anybody with common sense knows that. So my issue with it is if you're gonna accuse somebody of something, bring it up when it happens. Because otherwise, with all the shit that's going on, I ain't trying to believe nothing you're talking about any goddamn way.
Yeah, I mean, but just to play devil's advocate a little bit, they say a lot of women don't come forward because they're afraid of retaliation and, just not being believed and a bunch of stuff, that goes along with being a victim of a sexual crime. They actually say that sexual crimes are underreported because people just don't talk about the things that are happening to them. Now, I will say this. I'm with you, Gary. I just find a lot of it hard to believe, especially when you said these things happened years ago. And then when said person, whoever this is, usually it's somebody who's coming to political prominence or, they're gaining something. And then all of a sudden, bam, back in 1930, it's like we were, it's just like, really? Like, okay. I mean, I don't know where you got the courage to talk about it now opposed to then, but then in 1930, when the person was lesser known, you'd have more of a chance to be anonymous. But now this person is on the national, scene, and all of a sudden you're going to come out and say this person did something. Then the crazy part, listen, I'm a woman. I've been groped before, okay? And I didn't like it, but so I know that it happens, but
stay off that Marine base.
No, this was after the Marine. I didn't mind that on the Marine base, okay? I'm just kidding. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to seem like I'm trying to deduce one thing over another. But I don't know. I mean, it just seems like if somebody groped you, you would have handled it at a smaller level before it gets to the national spotlight. I mean, you can't help but the question, like, what's your angle? Why now? Well, what is it that you're trying to gain? And then the part that really just messed me up, even with the T.I. and Tiny thing, they go hire ambulance chasers like, Lisa Bloom, who is Gloria Allred's daughter, these big high profile lawyers to come and, they just want an apology. It's like, no, you don't. You want to take this person's reputation down. And that also asks the other question, who sent you? And how much did they pay you to do this? Because taking those political figures down is more valuable than anything you can think of.
Well, I'm going to say this here because I'm going to be straight up honest with y'all, man. I done been groped. I ain't said nothing. There were nights that people got me pissing drunk and took advantage of me. I didn't say nothing. I even got raped. And I didn't say nothing. That's all I got for y'all.
You too? Yes, it happens, It happens. It happens. Blame it on the, I got roofied. That's what it is. I got roofied.
Hey, you know what? And I didn't think of this. Look at what Robert Hicks says. T.I. went after Lords of London. I want people to think about that. Every time one of our black people go after the system, then they come after them. First of all, let's get this straight. In the rap music industry and the music industry, period, there's a drug culture. It's always been there. There's a drug culture in the entertainment industry. Now, these girls saying, oh, he did this to me. I still say the same thing, even with R. Kelly. I'm going to just talk about T.I. Why the fuck you kept going over there then? Why you kept going over there popping them motherfucking pills? First of all, anybody in the entertainment industry know T.I. and Tiny are swingers. You know this. So if you ain't going over there to eat the dick, then what you going over there to visit for? To play with King? No, you going over there to get the dick. And that's what I don't understand. Oh, well, R. Kelly did this to my daughter. Why the fuck you kept dropping your daughter off over there then? Why you dropped off there in the first place? You knew the man's reputation. And now you want to come back and want everybody to jump on your fucking team with this crazy shit. Did you jump on Charlie Sheen's team when he was running around here spreading venereal diseases?
AIDS.
Yeah, and I thought that if you have sex with somebody knowing that you have HIV or AIDS, that's a crime, a capital 1 crime.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a crime, but yeah, I mean, he makes a good point about Lloyd's of London, which is a big time insurance company overseas London, that they do, some people call it strange insurance policy. So J-Lo's butt is insured, and, you know,
Tina Turner's legs.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, and they also were big participants in the slave trade. They insured cargo, which were slaves during the slave trade. And so T.I. says that Lloyd's of London needs to come up off the bag because they are complicit in the slave trade. And, you know, he's been pretty vocal about a whole lot of other things in regards to Black people. And so, you know, to your point, all of a sudden now he's this big time sexual abuser, and his wife is too, and all this other stuff. But Tiny made a good point. A couple of weeks back, she put a picture of the accuser's sons with a picture of T.I. and says, so was he all of that when he was mentoring your sons? Now all of a sudden, we this and we that, when it turns out, like you said, Gary, they're swingers and she participated in the swinging. But don't get it confused. And this is the part that really jacks us up about us. And I was just having this conversation with Al. I said, the problem with us as Black people, we refuse to educate ourselves. We refuse to read. We refuse to just get knowledge, right? Like just in the past, we've seen these movies, Hollywood produced movies, but nevertheless, they talked about, you know, J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI, COINTELPRO and all of that. So if you think they can take down major Black organizations like the UNIA and the Black Panthers, you don't think they can get next to T.I. and Tiny swing buddies and say, hey, listen, we're going to give y'all this, that, and the other. And then, because a lot of times the FBI would get next to these agents because they had a past. And so they'll offer them a deal. Just going up in there and turn state's evidence and implement them and this, that, and the other, and take T.I. and Tiny all the way out the game because people were listening to T.I., you know, about group economics and, you know, Black unity and divesting from, you know, the white institutions and, you know, put that money, but he said, stop buying Gucci and all this other stuff and buy real estate. So you don't think that the FBI couldn't get a hold of the people to take them down? I mean, and we see it all the time. We got a lot of people in our community that aren't loyal. They don't mind taking down a whole movement to get a couple of pieces of silver. So, like, start thinking.
One of the main reasons why, and I just wrote it in the comments, why they can buy off our informants and people like that is because we lack wealth in our community. I know a lot of people have emailed me and said, oh, we're never going to get reparations, whatever. Just because we're not going to get it in our lifetime doesn't mean we stop asking for it, because it is a debt that is owed. It is an owed debt that needs to be paid. When you die and your loved one goes away, you don't get that money that they leave you and all that estate and stuff. The state comes in and says, here are your creditors. We got to pay them off first. We have a debt that needs to be paid. I might not get it. Maybe my grandkids will get it. Maybe, and my great grandkids get it, but it's a debt that needs to be paid. But reason why they could so easily go in there and infiltrate us in our organizations is because we lack that wealth. And once we get it, I'm not saying that it won't stop us from, them buying people off, because I believe everybody has a price, but that price will be a very high price versus peanuts just to get somebody to set somebody up to be murdered and killed and all that other stuff. We lack wealth in our community, and we keep electing these bootlicks and these people that enrich themselves, but they don't enrich the community that votes them in the office. I have no problem with Aunt Maxine making millions of dollars. But if she's going to make millions of dollars, I would expect that her district looks like $1 million. That's all.
Well, I mean, people like, we need to stop doing this. And well, let's go back. Do you really think that some boats could just show up on the shore of Africa and just start capturing Negroes? Somebody in our own tribe set us up. This shit been going on forever. But nowadays, these motherfuckers selling folk out for a little bit of nothing. And you know what's so crazy, man, when you think about what they're doing to some of these celebrities, I just don't understand it. And because when I go on Facebook, a lot of women have naked. You go on Twitter, pussy all day. You're smoking dope live on the internet. But then when somebody give you some dope, a big time celebrity give you some dope, 10 years later, oh, he took my pussy after I smoked with him. But ain't that what you went there for? Why not? I don't even understand it. I don't understand it. But to sell us out the way that they selling us out, the same way they run around here selling us out right now for water. In the state of Texas, they selling you out for water. The motherfuckers cutting side deals on bottled water. Everything these people are doing is money driven. It's money driven. And as long as we don't have money, it's easily a situation where we can be infiltrated and they can have us do whatever they want us to do. The vaccine. How many pastors have set up vaccine, situations at their churches? You think God told them just do that on GP? These Negroes getting paid and pumping you full of that motherfucking juice that probably fuck around and kill you in 2 years with your good healthy ass.
Yep. And another thing we got to think about is ever since the nation's been shut down for a year, the gas emissions and the toxicity in the air went down, they say, by 6% around the world. But now that they're trying to open things up, it's going to go right back up, if not even be more, so they can make up for the money that they've lost, right? I would strongly recommend people, hey, you think you guys got a problem with water? You guys are going to have a problem with clean air. So be ready for that. So if you don't have any of those demystifiers and those filters and stuff in your home and your ACs and stuff, get ready. That is something you're going to have to invest in, because these people, like you said, it's all about the money. It's always going to be about the money. You guys are the energy center down there in Texas and Louisiana, in that area like that. So you guys are more, not dependent, but you guys have unlimited fossil fuel. We're here in California. We've turned to alternative type situations. I mean, our gas is almost $5 out here, and we're not even in summertime yet. And they're starting to put the blend into our fuel, which they don't do with you guys. And we don't even know what the blend is, but it's an extra $1 to do that. And then, Dimitri, I don't know if you heard about that refinery in Carson that blew up. Whenever they want to jack the prices up in California, every year there's a refinery that blows up, and then the prices go sky high. So, but clean air is going to be the next big issue.
Well, one of the biggest issues right now, and Walter said it last week, is the fucking price of gas. You're blowing up all the goddamn chemical plants in Texas, and the gas done went through the fucking roof, man. Man, where your black representatives at in your neighborhood, man? You know, that neighborhood that's tore up and fucked up, the crime through the roof, the school failing. Where your black representatives at right now? Everybody done jumped on the water train. Ain't nobody talking about the real shit that's going on. I get it. We went through a tough time with the freeze and all that. But we still lived in fucked up neighborhoods. We still are forcing our children to go up in these fucked up schools, man. Where's your black representation? Where is it? And don't be mad at the black folk that say, man, I'm not finna kick it with y'all no more. I'm finna go hang out with them white folk. A motherfucker really tired of some of you niggas, man. Motherfucker really tired of some of y'all, man. You know, Dimitri, on the real, some of them just doing too motherfucking much right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it's up to the people. It's up to the people to decide that they want better, you know, regardless of what it is, water, leadership, the coronavirus. Just think about how cavalier someone like Greg Abbott is, Governor Abbott, whoever, how cavalier he must be to say that basically what he says in a nutshell is, I'm over it. Coronavirus doesn't exist anymore to me. I'm over it. And if I'm over it, you're over it too. Get your ass out there, you know, get in these businesses so we can spur the economy. And let me tell y'all something. And I'm not even an elitist at all. Okay. So please don't take this the wrong way. But minimum wage in Texas is $7.25. Ain't no way in hell. Okay. I'm taking my black ass out anywhere for $7.25 for $58 a day, and then you take taxes off of that. It's somewhere in the $40. Ain't no way in hell I'm taking my ass out to no store, restaurant, nowhere, and working for minimum wage. I collect cans or give me an OnlyFans page. I'll be doing something clean on there and whatever I got, but I'm not gonna have nobody send me out there to die for $7. Like, where is our self-esteem, black people? I just want to know why don't we have a higher value on ourselves? Like, think about it. I'm from California, right? And minimum wage is $12, and I ain't working for $12 either. I'm not going to do it. And again, I know people got to do it. Somebody's got to be out there making sure people get the hamburgers and whatever, Forever 21, if that's wherever. I know people got to do it, but we're not in a time to where you can say, well, you know, there's not a virus out there, whatever, because you know who's going to be coming in those stores or those restaurants is going to be those assholes who are exercising their rights. Because I was at a couple of stores today and I asked them, I said, how do you guys feel about the governor lifting these mandates? And they said, well, we got notices and memos from the home office saying that don't let these people in. I said, that sounds good on the surface. I said, but you're going to have somebody's grandma at the front of the store saying, oh, honey, you can't come in here without a mask. What's she going to do? Those people, and you know, and I've seen people celebrating the fact that there's no mask mandates. You know, the masks aren't mandated anymore. They're happy. So, you know, those are going to be the people that go and cause the most problems for people making minimum wage. They got to put up with that shit. I mean, to me, it just seems like people say, hey, you know what? I'll make do. I can find me $40-something somewhere every day if it means me not, you know, virtually being a slave. Because this man that's sitting at the Capitol in Texas don't give a damn about you.
But wait a minute, though. I got a question. Now, as you know, I'm good friends with the majority leader here in California, which is an assembly that represents all the different districts in the counties, right? This man is not a dictator. So my question to you, 5-star, and to all you people down there in Texas, what is the assembly saying about this? Because they can override the governor's stuff by veto and all that other stuff like they do on the national level. So what are the representatives doing at the state level to say, nah, dog, we ain't doing this? Or are they just rolling with it?
Well, you got to look at it, man. You know, sing it with me slow. Not a goddamn thing. Even if you fail as a state rep at trying to accomplish the goal, at least let us see you tried. At least let us see that you fought the battle. These people not fighting the battle, man. These people want to be career politicians, man. A lot of them sit in these seats that are not term limited, and they want to sit there forever. You know what I'm saying? They want to sit there forever, man. And that's the reason they not saying shit. I mean, look at the stimulus and the problems that they having with the two Democratic, representatives to try to get this shit through. It's a whole bunch of them like that. But see, we steady running out there voting for them people, not realizing that it's our own people that's fucking us up. So I can't keep beating up the white man and giving the black representative a pass. I'm not doing it. Motherfucker, you govern us. What are you gonna do about it? Hidalgo and Turner, they upset, and I get it. Make an executive decision then, goddammit. Make an executive decision then, goddammit. Mr. Mayor, if you run up on a situation, you're passing out water. Ain't nobody passing out no water here unless you got your mask on. Make an executive decision. But most of these folk, even on the lower levels, they want to be career politicians, so they not about to buck the system.
Well, and I saw too, Mayor Turner, he said he wasn't happy about what Greg Abbott is doing. It doesn't make any sense. And what's her name? The Judge Hidalgo, she's not happy about it either. But it's like, ultimately, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? It's like you're going to have more bodies in body bags behind. It just, like I said, I can't put my head around a lot of things that I've seen and learned since I've been here. It's almost like Texas is from a different planet. You got these big time white supremacists running the country. I mean, not the country, the state. And it seems like people are okay with it. It's just weird to me. It's like the Twilight Zone. That's what it should be called instead of Texas, is the Twilight Zone. I just never, I know people can be apathetic, but Texas is and I'm not trying to shade people at all. I'm not trying to, talk bad about people, but the apathy here is just, it's like a sedative. Like people are just like walking zombies, like, well, okay, we froze to death. We're mad about it. But then now we're going to go and stand in these water lines. That's the best they could do, is give you some water after you done damn near froze to death. There's still people who don't have water. There's an apartment building that I covered. They don't have water still. And they're doing a rent strike because they don't have water. I mean, it's just like, this can't be real life.
Well, you know what's funny, Demetria? You guys just had this big, massive ice storm. Not even 4 days later, I saw some of my friends on Facebook with the big steak ribs. They barbecuing, and they got the whole food spread out. And I'm like, wait a minute, you just went through this dynamic problem situation, but you're out there cooking the big slab of ribs and I know Fat Tuesday just passed by, so everybody missed Mardi Gras and stuff. They got the crawfish boil going and stuff. I'm just like, what is really more important? I mean, you missed the Mardi Gras because of the ice storm. You can do it again next year, but don't you think that you need to focus your problems on what needs to be fixed in the community? But no. Oh, we're going to go over to TT's and go, to the barbecue. I was just like, huh? What happened here?
But see, for me, necessarily, Donovan, I don't have a problem with people doing that because, they should be allowed to do those things. And the ice storm was not their fault. I mean, like I said, there's still people who don't have water and, they're having to, Al was telling me about a friend of his. They have family members who come over a couple days a week to fill up big, giant containers of water because they still don't have water. And so, I think people should be able to barbecue and all of that, and because it's not their fault. Does that make any sense? It's not their fault that their water is off and those kind of things. But what I mean is that the voter and a lot of it's mostly us, is keep it real. We have a lot of apathy when it comes to the things that are done to us and the people who are doing it to us. I mean, how do you explain continuing to vote in politicians that continue to not deliver. I mean, even the basic necessities like water. Now, I know ultimately it's the water plant's fault, but they allowed them, and the power companies to do the things they're doing. Like Texas, especially, they're part of this big secession movement. They don't want to be a part of this. They want to be their own little country, but it's like you're fucking up the rotation. You're a horrible country. You're not doing things right.
I tell you, man, that you got a lot of passion for a brand new Texan, but you're starting to see what some of us have been dealing with for 53 years. Let me be serious for a second. It's the ignorance, the self-ignorance of our people. I agree they should be able to do all of that. First time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. Memorial Day flood, first time, shame on you. Harvey, second time, shame on me. This is where I'm at. We shouldn't have to be going through anything and looking like some damn fools, begging and pleading for the people to take care of us that screwed us over. If you went through what you just went through, then you should be saving up your motherfucking money to buy you a generator. We shouldn't have to go through this shit again. See, when you become self-sufficient, politicians can become obsolete because you don't depend on them anymore. Hold on a second. Now, Demetri, if you get the money, Donovan, because you talk about reparations, then you don't have to depend on the government anymore. Am I correct, y'all? Sounds like a Republican philosophy to me. They don't want you to depend on the government. I'm sitting here right now with some banana pudding. I'm starting my weight loss journey, so I'm having days where I gotta eat like I'm eating after the surgery. From Dion's lip-smacking banana pudding entrepreneur, my homeboy. And if y'all want some, go hit him in his inbox. It's that serious. I'm gonna show you how serious it is. It's that serious. I'm gonna get me one or two every time. But this the thing. He put himself in a position just selling banana pudding to where if something happens, he has a flow of money. This is why Walter is so important on a Thursday night. He has an additional flow of money. Stop sitting there and allowing these people to make you dependent on them. As long as the government keeps you dependent on them, you are their bitch. Think about it. You women, let me talk to you, my black, white, Latino sisters. You ever had that man that just controlled you with the money? It's a bunch of them out there know what I'm talking about. You couldn't buy panties, you couldn't buy females stuff because you didn't have no money. And he controlled you with the money. You didn't like it then. Now let's flip that. Hold on, let's flip it. Let's flip it to the government side. They keep you poor to keep you dependent on the government. They're going to give you $1,400. And then they're going to starve you for 7 months to give you some more. And they're going to keep you coming back like that. It doesn't matter if the state of Texas opens tomorrow. You have an economic gap now because of this pandemic shutting it down that you ain't going to make up that money. And they know if they hurry up and give you the 14, you're going to shoot it right back into the economy because you don't have a choice. So they're handling you like dope fiends.
And absolutely. There was an article in France where they were talking about like the so-called industrial Western powers that are giving their citizens $2,000 a month. Of course, they have universal health care, all that other stuff. And they're saying that the condition of Black people in America, since we're already at the bottom compared to other races, again, illegals, Joe Biden just signed an executive order that illegal Mexicans cannot be profiled. We're citizens and we can't even get that bill through Congress to protect legal citizens. But I'll digress to that. But they're saying that after all is said and done, and let's say 3 years from now, this is all said and over, They said black people, because we will be so far behind in our rent and our car notes and stuff, our wealth will be actually basically, we're done as a people. We are done. We will be those people at Walmart. We will be those people at the warehouses working minimum wage, permanent underclass, just like Dr. Claude Anderson said.
Well, some of us ain't gonna be them people, Donovan, because we're gonna be on the block with them things in our hands, and we're gonna get that money.
Just kind of going back to your point, Gary, about women not being able to, not, you know, depending on the man and not being able to buy her personal needs. Shit. My dad and my mom used to always say, one of my favorite songs by Billie Holiday is "God bless the child that's got his own." So I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. But
my favorite song is Pimp C and Zero, that trash that like to fuck for $40 in the club.
Back to your point too about the stimulus. The stimulus is actually going to be a sedative. It's going to be a sedative. It's going to rock people back to sleep because, like you said, Gary, you know, people have been waiting for the stimulus for what, months, 8 months or so now, and I need the stimulus. Where's my money? And they give you that $1,400, and you're like, phew.
The big screen TVs, right? Look, 75-inch TVs at Walmart for $600. That's where that money gonna go.
Well, you know, regardless of where it goes, people get pacified and, you know, they get rocked back to sleep because they feel good. They got this money and everything's all right now until it runs out, you know, and so they realize that giving you that stimulus is a sedative. It's like a crack fiend, you know, no shade to anybody like that. But it's like a crack fiend, you know, they get it and they're like, whew. But if they didn't have the money to get it, they go on bananas, right? And so, you know, just be cognizant of that. That $1,400 is not going to answer your problems. Like Gary said, what do you have? And as my mom used to always say, only a poor rat has but one hole, right? So if that rat, one hole gets boarded up by the people who live in the house, where are they going to go? They're going to be running around. But they're like, shit, okay, I got me a couple of other holes to go into in case that one gets boarded up. Well, we need to be like that rat in some ways and having multiple streams of income. A lot of people just got one job. What happens if you go to work tomorrow and that job says, hey, you know what? We just love you. You've been the best employee we could ever have, but times are thin right now. We got to let you go. Then what are you going to do? Are you going to go home and cry? You're going to say, man, this job was my plan B. This wasn't my plan A. It was just something to do. I got some other streams of income. So when that $1,400 come, or is it going to be, for a lot of people it is, unfortunately, but is it going to, you know, be something you need to pay the rent? Or is it going to be something you put in your bank account because even though you lost your job, did you have you a banana pudding hustle? You know, did you find out what it is you can do to get people to pay you for it? Did you, like our boy Terrence, did you go start you a lawn business? Did you go cook some, like Gary said, he's got friends that making dinners? Did you go use your truck to go haul some things for people? And like right now, there's people who need things hauled up out their house because the Texas storm, they jacked their house up. If you have a truck, you can drive around and see, I'm giving somebody the game. You can drive around these neighborhoods and say, hey, for $50, I'll load this truck up, whatever you got in that house that needs to go to the dump, and I'll take it for you. You do that a couple of times a day, shit, that's good. That's like better than going to a 9 to 5. But what will you do in order to escape being a rat with one hole?
You got these moms.
The one hole. The one hole is there because your local leadership got you believing that every time something happened, they got your back. And you ain't got to do shit. Just wait for us to give you the water. Wait for us to give you the cheese. Wait for us to give you the wick and the milk. And the whole time, you really screwing yourself. And we really need, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, but we really need to look at our leadership, man, because it's not there. These are the same sermons that they could be preaching. Why they not saying this? You know, you up in the state house writing shit, bills that some of this shit just crazy shit. When you could be up in the state house overhauling education, dealing with homelessness, fixing that goddamn child support system. You see what I'm saying? Dealing with CPS. These motherfuckers don't want to fuck with that. You know why? Because this is where they get their money from.
You know, again, and you know, to me, it's just crazy because you know they don't want us to come into these buildings, but these people are still getting paid, regardless if they go to the Capitol or not. They're staying at home. These guys are getting six-figure salaries, and they're not trying to solve the problems that we sent them there to do. That is their primary job. That's why we vote these people in, to help solve our problems. But they're not doing that, and we just sit on our butts and we just don't worry about it. But like right now, for those of you guys, you know, think about it right now. A lot of people are non-essential workers. Is that child support system stopping? Of course not. We are going to be made a permanent underclass. And here's the funny thing that you were saying about that game there, Demetria. I know some women that have 4 sons. The youngest one, let's say, might be 12. That would be a good idea. I mean, if you're a mom and you got 3 to 4 sons, even if you got 2 sons, that idea that Demetria just said, send their asses, get them off the PlayStation, send their asses out there to go make some money to bring back to the house. But a lot of our queens won't do that because that's my king. And oh, they don't have to do that kind of stuff. So we just gonna sit here and struggle. And hopefully, you know, the father hasn't paid child support in 5 years and ain't gonna do it. But a lot of y'all have the resources and the sons, even some daughters that want to get out there and get it, that could fix our own neighborhoods and get that hustle going. I mean, it's possible.
Final thoughts, Ms. Demetria.
Well, my final thoughts here is, you know, since we started with the whole Texas thing is, you know, if you live in Texas like Gary and I, use wisdom. Use wisdom. Just because the governor doesn't care about you, that doesn't mean you don't have to care about yourself. Abstain from these parties people are going to have, you know, whatever, you know, they're going to do. Abstain from those parties because they are going to be super spreaders. And do what you can to protect yourself. But most importantly, you know, like he says when Walter comes on, you know, try to find you, if you got one stream of income, if that's your job, try to get another. Whether you play in the stock market, that's a stream of income. You got a little side hustle, you know how to make a mean, you know, apple pie or something. People, you know, find people who want to do that. You know how to braid hair. I see Ron Trail says, you know, somebody is selling bundles of hair. You know, or whatever it is you know how to do, ask yourself, what can I do well that I can get somebody to pay me for? And whatever that is, add that to your stream of income, because it's going to come a time to where a lot of these jobs are just simply going to go away, and that is going to affect us. And then we'll continue to have to depend on these Democrats to continue dangling that carrot in front of us, right? So start tapping into, because as my dad says, we're pyramid builders. We built this joint, okay? So we built this joint. Surely we can figure out how to take care of ourselves on an individual basis.
Final thoughts, Mr. Donovan.
Well, like I said, I just want to thank you guys for helping out in the donation today, and our dollar donation day. If you were able to give $1, we greatly appreciate it, because this is how you do politics in America. Black nationalism, there's a lot of things to it, but one of the main components of Black nationalism is controlling the politicians in your neighborhood. And one way you control them is by buying them. And we want our politician to go out there and do our work and take care of our kids. And Jerry Monroe's the best to do that. So if we're able to donate $1, even if not more, we really, really thank you. And again, this is the candidate that we're going to get on the school board, because we're going to shake things up, because no longer are we going to be falling for the slick, oh, I look good, I got a nice suit. We've been doing that, and the school systems are failing. The whole thing is failing, and our kids suffer. So thank you guys again for donating, and please like, share, and subscribe. And you know, we're going to keep this going.
Tonight we raised $181. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And if you can, send your name and your address to Aisha Wilson. She's on this thread. That's my campaign finance manager. Send your name and your address in an inbox. Do not post that publicly. Send that to her so she can put you on the campaign finance report. This Saturday, 6 o'clock, virtually, we will be signing up volunteers to help us. If you want to work the phone bank, you can do this on your own time. Doing what you do, we'll give you a list of names you need to call, talk to these people. If you want to be out in the streets, a foot soldier, we passing out information in the community. I mean, it's time to step up to the plate, man. If you're a taxpayer in the city of Houston, it's time to step up to the plate, man. Oh, I don't have a kid in the school system, but you pay taxes to the one that school that's in your neighborhood. So it's time to step up to the plate, but we need to build an army. So if you're interested, inbox me. We're going to go through what we need to go through, and we're going to accomplish this goal. Yes, ma'am.
Really quick before we leave, just reminded me, you're running for the school board, reminded me of a story that I actually covered for the African Diaspora News Channel today. And I don't know if you heard about it, Gary. It was a story out of Baltimore. It was a school to where the senior class, which is a class of 120, is in a black school, 120. One little boy, he's supposed to be a senior, found out that he's not graduating because he only has 2.5 credits completed for his whole 4 years in that school, and he is considered to be at the top quartile of his class with a grade point average of 0.13%. He has to basically start all over. The mom and everybody's upset, and basically the school dropped the ball because they found that hundreds of students have completely failed. This little boy has missed 272 days of class, passed only 3 classes his whole time in high school, and failed 22. And he was passed on to different classes, even though he failed English 1, and Spanish 1, and Algebra 1. They passed him on to the second and third courses of these classes. So I bring all that up to say is, while his mom and dad did fail him, where was the school? Where was the school board? We have hundreds of students that are failing to send out some truancy notice or, something to 4 years. This wasn't 4 months, 4 years he went through and he's out of 120 students, he's considered the number 62 in the class with a 0.13% grade point average. So it is very important that we get people like Gary to these school boards who are actually going to do things that are conducive to the students and not just sit there and just, for a title and, and prestige. Like, these students are failing, and those are the students that are going to go out into society and potentially maybe one day take care of you.
That young man didn't fail. I saw that story. The school system failed him. I had a teacher this morning, had to have a meeting. She had been called a black bitch at her school in the Houston Independent School District. She's at a school where she was the only black employee. No white people, no black people, all Latinos. There were no black children in the school except for her son. She decided she didn't want to be a black bitch no more. She filed an official complaint. She filed an official complaint. She removed her son from the school. And then this morning, we in a meeting, they remove her from the school. You want to play this game with me, huh? See, this is why we gotta get this changed. Where in America do you know that there is a school that has no African Americans, no whites, no Asians, whether it's teachers or children? How is that school allowed to operate like that? Yeah, we got some problems. But we're going to fix a couple of them tomorrow night, because the money man will be here. Say, man, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. It's the best show on the net. It's the War Zone. I want to thank my good friend Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetri K. And I am the 5-star general tomorrow night, Walter will be in the building. Time to get that money. I want to thank my good friend Dion Hollins. Dion's lip smacking banana pudding. Go hit him in his inbox because it's serious, man. Every time he do it, he sell out every day. Every day he do it. So, you know, it is what it is. And until tomorrow, we'll holler at you.